I watched this supposed updated version of Twister from the 90s. Yeah, Into the Storm it's called. And even this now is a bit, just a slight bit outdated. So, it's well, yeah, 7 years old nearly, Um, yeah, 2014, I think, filmed in 13. Um, now, it's one of those things. I mean, yeah, sure enough, the characters aren't exactly the most incredible creations or anything, and especially those those annoying ones. I mean, they're supposed to be um, there for comedy, but they're really more annoying than anything. I mean, how much more annoying could one get? And I thought at one point that they put them there just so people would at least have a single sort of source of, um, not really minding that much if they disappear in a tornado, I suppose. But what do you know? They reappear. I don't know what they thought making them appear would be a funny decision, but I don't know. Yeah. Um, well, obviously that also makes it unrealistic. There's no way that anyone would ever reappear. They weren't even in a car. The people at the beginning in a car had died as well, and somehow the ones not in a car do not die. Really? I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you're really lucky, you could escape it or something. But not really. I don't know. I guess they just wanted the little bit of comedy there, but I didn't think it worked too well. I mean, the beginning was really boring when they were mostly the cause of it. I honestly don't know how one of them won some sort of comedy tournament thing. Apparently, I read. Maybe he's funnier elsewhere, not in movies, clearly. Honestly, man, the first 20 minutes or so are just so boring because of them. And at least the rest then isn't full of them, but whenever they appear, they're just too boring. Yeah, otherwise, the effects are pretty cool. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, sure, it's what people obviously went for in the cinema, and it would have been better to watch it in the cinema, sure. Uh, but yeah, so this is why, I mean, it made such profit, quite a lot of profit, like more than double, triple, I think. And yeah, and despite the, I mean, it's not exactly a character study or anything. I mean, sure, some characters start by being belligerent to each other and don't continue on and such because of the experiences and all. But they also went a bit too far with regards to that as well. Like if we're saying all these twisters in one moment, and then all these vehicles up in the air, these houses all destroyed. Well, would they also want to not only make those two nearly drown, but then somehow even after they got the beam thing off, he gets caught by something else and he cannot go up and he loses consciousness. I mean, sure, in real life this might happen if someone is really unlucky. This is a movie, of course, and I don't know, it just seemed a bit too much, like, over the top is the literal description of this. Like, it's one thing, just if they just stayed with just the tornadoes, it would have been more focused and better in this sense. I mean, they were still pretty impressive. How they all appear and such, and how it was made was interesting as well. I've listened to some of the actors' interviews and the director and producer and whatnot, and it was interesting. Yeah, the way they do everything. Apparently, loads of studios were involved in its production just to make some sort of believable hurricanes and yeah. it was interesting. Apparently, the same studio that did Star Wars did this because the director is a second unit director for George Lucas. Apparently, um, yeah. I don't think George Lucas ever directed anything to do with weather, but he still had needed loads of special effects for Star Wars. Loads. So slightly different, more fictional special effects as opposed to. I suppose it makes a difference, doesn't it? If you're just going to have entirely fictional effects as opposed to effects that are meant to be realistic, are meant to reflect reality as well. Just controllable reality as opposed to would have been must be really difficult to film in a real tornado. In fact, to get any footage at all would be difficult. But imagine if they really tried to film in a real tornado. Yeah. But also, this thing here. I mean, this was filmed in 2014. It reminded me a lot of what's happening currently in the pandemic. Obviously, pandemic. The pandemic is a form of a disaster as well. So it's along with it's one of the disasters in the genre. But I mean, in reality, yeah, this sort of thing happens. In movie, you get people who go too close, who somehow want to film something, and yeah, it's not quite about filming this time. Although yeah, there are people who film and take selfies and then fall off a mountain or something. Yeah, somehow they think that selfies are worth dying over somehow. Um, but no, this time in a pandemic, it's people who somehow think they can just summon some sort of fighting spirit. Just cannot seem to realize that uh, one cannot really uh, uh, know whether or not a virus can be overcome. It's absurd. Uh, so in this sense, so it's sort of similar, it's like those annoying guys, it's just like, oh yeah, let's go inside of it, yay! Of course, in reality, it's well, sure, some survive, some might survive despite killing others. Yes, why not? When it comes to storms or tornadoes, of course, it's a little different. As in, if you actually do go in the direction of a tornado. It's not like you're just magically also pushing others towards it. Only people who really want to risk their own lives go. So on that front, yeah, they're just risking their own lives. So if people really do that, they really are risking their own lives. If you want to film a fire tornado, then yeah, risk your life. Why not? Well, it's absurd, but to be honest, that little bit was a bit unrealistic as well because it went from um, that 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 character fearing it all, wanting to quit, to suddenly, oh, I need to film this, and suddenly, being taken. I mean, come on, really, a fire tornado? That must be like the worst thing ever to get caught up in. And so yeah, but otherwise, I mean, it's a movie that is is spectacular to look at. I mean, at the very least, just that pretty much. It's not going to be great drama per se. I mean, it's a tornado. It's not drama. It's not some villain who's declaring war on the world or something, or even fictional aliens or even zombies who might possibly even similar to zombies though. They don't say much either, so sort of similar. Apparently, some actors also play in such other series and such. Anyway, yeah. So I ultimately felt. I mean, I liked it slightly better than many critics seem to do. I mean, it got a lot of profits, so in that sense, I kind of liked it as much as it seems like many people have liked it. In the sense, better than well, it's a disaster movie. That's what it is. And I don't actually watch many disaster movies. I've watched some on pandemics in the past, but not quite. I don't remember the last time I watched the one about tornadoes. It was impressive to look at. That's pretty much it. Then, yeah. So